Hi, Empaths. Welcome back. My name is Eileen, and I want to wish you many, many blessings at this time and sending you love and light. And I want to encourage you to just stay anchored and grounded. We have so much going on in the world right now. There's often things going on off planet as well. That does affect us empaths because we're so energy sensitive. But literally on the planet, there's all kinds of chaos and mayhem occurring as corrupt structures really reveal themselves and basically start to crumble and fall to the ground. So we've talked about this for many weeks. I've shared perspective to help our collective remain grounded. I'm going to go through some of the titles of some of the talks that I've done over the last several weeks and several months, just to connect the dots and bring together what this current time looks like energetically, and why we're feeling it so deeply, and why we've been talking about it for so many months. So some of the titles that I just jotted down: Take the Lead, Stay on Course. We did a protection prayer. We talked about fading falsity. We talked about course correction, getting back on course when we've gotten off track. We've talked about boundary breakers. We've talked about recognizing the power over structure, what that looks like compared to a pure heart structure. One of the titles was just straight up, Shut It Down, Empath. When that negative energy and those negative entities, show up in your field, shut it down. We talked about the empath code of honor, and we've also talked about the empath sixth sense. We've discussed many, many things, or I've discussed, I've shared with our collective the things that I've downloaded from the spiritual guidance that I work with. God, creator, the source, my angels, my ancestors, divine guardian protectors that oversee the light of my soul that emanates from me as a human to this world. I listen and I offer what is shared. And of course, whatever doesn't resonate, toss it. If it's not for you, toss it. You will never hear me saying to you that what I've heard and what I've shared is it, and that it is the way. Never, never, never. And just to remind you, the reason for that is because we are all integrating spiritual consciousness and the ways to do this life as a human based on our ancestral call, cultural practices, what we came to learn in this life, why we're here on the planet, what we're here to help lead or teach or heal. There's so many variables, and we're not all going to always see things the exact same way. However, right is right and wrong is wrong. And we will always have a gut check in terms of what is aligned first and foremost for us as individuals, but also what is aligned for the collective. And anything that usurps your own personal authority, anything that requires you to lose your personal level of integrity or your sovereignty to serve it or to honor it. I don't care if it's a church or a political institution or an educational institution, spiritual practices, even familial practices. If it requires that you lose your sovereignty, if it requires that you be a power over structure and take advantage of people, if it requires scams and schemes and lying and stealing and manipulating, then that's not the highest light. Just isn't. And we know that, right? So as an empath collective, let's stay alert. Let's stay open to the purity of the divine. Let's allow ourselves to weed out even of our own consciousness and our own experience, anything that's not aligned, anything that doesn't serve the highest light. If it smells, looks like, sounds like, breathes like a blah, blah, whatever, then that's what that is. And let's not be in this collective cognitive dissonance or delusional state where we pretend, well, that's my grandfather, or, well, that's my spiritual lineage, or, well, that's the way I've always been taught, or, well, that's my neighbor down the street, and now they're in a position of political power, and I can trust them because as a kid growing up, I could look. If it isn't aligned with the spiritual truth that allows all humans on this planet to have reciprocity, to feel respected, to experience dignity, if not every single person on the planet is afforded the spiritual right of sovereignty, then that particular doctrine or technique or practice or strategy or tool or technology is not in the highest light. If it doesn't serve all of us, if it doesn't bless all of us, if it isn't helping all of us elevate and ascend and be better humans, if it isn't healthy for all of us, then it is not the highest structure. And we know that. And let's stop pretending like we don't know the truth. Okay? Purity, love, light, healing, health, wellness, oneness, respect for all, dignity, peace. These are the things, right? All right, dear ones, beautiful beings of light, dear beautiful empaths, this message overall is about being in the fire or being in the flame, but remaining unburned. Okay, so even when it gets hot, even when the circumstances in our world begin to sway us, when it begins to get rocky and choppy and uncomfortable. Prime example, the height of the pandemic, when there was so much uncertainty and so many mixed messages in terms of how to take care of ourselves, how to protect ourselves, how to stay, safe from the virus or whatever. There was so much uncertainty and so much chaos in those early stages of this pandemic. A lot of people lost their way. A lot of people lost hope. A lot of people became depressed. A lot of people became extremely anxious. And of course, it was stress inducing for the entire planet. Every one of us was affected in one way or another. And, relationships were impacted. So many things, right? Self-confidence, self-awareness was impacted. Dear beautiful beings of light, dear empaths, star seeds, way showers, light workers, we're here on this planet to anchor the planet during times of chaos. We are not here to get caught up in the mayhem and the crazy. So we always want to respond to everything with light, no matter what comes into the field and no matter what's going on the planet, in our neighborhood, in our community. We want to be very careful not to feed into the mayhem and feed into the chaos. When devil energy comes in, which is always, crazy, wonky, choppy, disruptive, judgmental, that's devil energy. Whenever it shows up, however it shows up with the chaotic frequency that we've talked about in the past, be careful, dear ones, to stay in your lane. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have a response, but go within and get your command codes from base, the sanctuary of the heart, your divine team. Keep that divine connection pure. Keep your channel pure so that however you respond, whether it's silence or whether it's something verbal or whatever it is you're called to do, that it is 100% aligned and part of the solution and not part of the problem. Sometimes something chaotic will happen in the world and everybody's up in arms about it. And we're quick to react, not respond. We react. We don't even think about what a proper response is. And sometimes the proper response is silence. And in that meditative space and in that silence, things can often get recalibrated and reconfigured, coming back to balance very quickly because we didn't feed into it. The mass consciousness is so used to feeding into disruptive, chaotic energy. And in that space, we often contaminate the waters even more. So, if someone is saying something or doing something, you first want to ask yourself, is it even my business? Is it even my place to insert myself? Am I being called to it? And if the spirit realm that you work with is calling you to address that particular chaotic frequency or that devil energy, then get your command codes from base so that whatever you say or do or however you respond, it's part of the solution. It elevates the situation and restores balance. But to just feed into judging others, to just feed into, throwing, casting whatever, spells actually. When you judge, you're casting spells, so to just feed into that, to assign motive and intent to celebrities or spiritual leaders or any kind of structures when you don't know those people personally, even if you think they're the worst humans or worst energies or the worst concepts or worst whatever, be very careful feeding into that, because when you feed into it, you are actually part of the problem. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you live in a community where there's a volcano that hasn't erupted for a long time, but then it erupts. You can begin to feel that it's coming. You can start to see some of the lava coming out, and it's not good. And so people start scurrying, they start moving, they start relocating, and then all of a sudden, boom, the eruption happens, and the hot lava is spreading everywhere. And for those people who didn't listen and pay attention to the signs, now they're scurrying. There may be some people that unfortunately die because they didn't pay attention to the signs, right? In that moment of chaos frequency, chaotic energy, there's an opportunity to either be part of the solution or be part of the problem. You can go in and you can try and save people. You can try and save your family. You can try and run away, get away. Or you can sit there and criticize all the people that didn't leave in time, criticize all the people that didn't evacuate, that didn't pay attention. What those idiots, how stupid are they? Or you can sit there stuck, frozen, woe is me. How could this be happening in my lifetime? Why would God let something like this happen? Why is that volcano erupting? And just be in that space of anxiety and stress and worry. So you get to decide what you plug into, what you dial into when chaotic frequencies, disruptive energy, upset, world events occur, pandemics, falls from grace, celebrity mayhem, whatever, all of it, all of the crazy. You get to decide, are you going to respond or are you going to react? Are you going to be part of the solution, which sometimes is to pull out of that energy and not even feed it. Don't even give any attention to it on your social media. Don't even remark about it. Don't even feed that devil energy. And other times it's to actually say something or do something or post something that serves the highest light, that serves the highest good, that gets everybody back on track, that recalibrates the situation and brings back a pure heart structure. You empaths are here to serve a very profound purpose, and that purpose is to remind the world of what they're fully capable of if they're always dialing into the highest light. A very, very powerful gift, a mantle you carry to be a peacemaker in times of war. That doesn't mean always be quiet and always be meek, but be selective and choose where you're going to invest your energy. And if your spiritual guidance hasn't called you to put your energy into it, pull out of it and be an anchor for the planet rather than a contributor to the chaos and the mayhem. So we're in the flame, but remain unburned. Now, Spirit gave me all kinds of messages, and I'm just going to share them with you. Be within the flame without burning yourself. So when the chaos is happening and we know we're here to be anchors and to be peacemakers, be in the flame, but don't burn yourself by participating in the chaotic frequency of judgment or frenzied energy or being at effect. Be at cause. Be the cause of the situation returning to peace and stabilizing, and everyone in your environment remaining grounded. Be at cause. Cause that. Don't be affected by, at effect of the chaotic energy. Now, with spring, we're in spring, we're in April at this time. Spring started actually on my birthday, March 20th. With spring, there's a lot of change that happens. And so, you know, spring is generally considered something beautiful. Things are beginning to grow. Things are beginning to, you see butterflies and birds and beautiful flowers. But remember, spring produces what was planted usually in the fall. Okay. Spring produces whatever was planted. So if the seeds that were planted were mayhem and chaos, metaphorically speaking, spring may be producing a harvest of mayhem and crazy and demonic devil energy. So, dear ones, don't be affected by what is harvesting or what is springing up, but stay grounded and anchored no matter what happens on the planet. And if it's a weed that needs to be chopped down, chop it down, but make sure you get the command codes from base so that you know exactly how and when to do that. So a few weeks ago, I talked about fading falsity or falsity fading. And I stated, based on what was given to me, when you sacrifice your universal connection, which is your divine intuition, it becomes easier to lack moral fiber in your decisions. It becomes easier to sacrifice integrity and to treat people and animals and nature poorly. What Spirit was saying to us with that message, fading falsity, Spirit was preparing us, the spirit realm, our ancestors and our angels and the divine beings that work with our soul structure that honor the creator, source God. They were preparing us with that message for some of the chaotic, crazy energy that is happening in our world right now. They were letting us know that false structures and things built on a faulty foundation and leaders and global leaders, spiritual leaders, religious people, whatever it is, if it's not aligned, if there's any fake or false or contamination in that entity, energy, organization, or structure, it's going to crumble. That is happening, people. The volcano is erupting. And we are seeing with very clear eyes wide open, what the truth is in a variety of situations: technology, AI structures, spiritual situations, political situations, everything, okay, across the board, dietary, poisons in the food. I could go on and on. We all know. Eyes wide open, we are seeing it, and the false structures are crumbling. Once again, fake structures are fading. Phony structures are fading. False foundations are crumbling for everyone to see the truth clearly. We don't need to be dismayed or shocked or in awe or how could this happen? We've already been told it was going to happen. So now that we're seeing it happen, let's remember why it's happening. Besides the fact that it's false, and our spiritual protectors, our guardian protectors, God, Creator, the truth, is never going to let us be in a state of delusionment, or we can't be in situations where we're being scammed or lied to. We'll never be stuck in those situations for long if our connection is pure, our channel is pure, our dial is pure and clear. Well, we're always going to be the truth will always be made available to us, and we will always see it for what it actually is. And what we're being reminded of is the reason we're going to see leaders falling or organizations collapsing that are fake is because basically they sacrificed their own universal connection, their own divine intuition that would have said, don't do that. That's going to hurt people. That's not aligned with the divine. Don't say that. Don't act like that. Don't treat people that way. Don't do that. When people cut that off, when they stop listening to divine wisdom, when people allow their egoic mind to trump divine wisdom, to chop off the spiritual intelligence that not only lives without, but lives within, when you cut that off, then it becomes easier to lack moral fiber, to create decisions that lack spiritual integrity. We're being called, dear empaths, to operate in an incredible radical discernment right now. Healthy empaths have the heart of the divine burning within them, and therefore they're able to live within the flame without getting burned, because it's the heart of the divine that's burning within them, not the heart of corruption. So a healthy empath has a balance of spirit and matter. They walk between worlds. They walk within the spirit realms, and they walk here and stay grounded on our earth realm and this planet. Divine empaths that haven't lost their way will have their emotions under control, and therefore they will be responsive, not reactive. Divine empaths who are aligned with spirit and are continuing to ascend, their first priority is light, love, and healing. There's no hidden agendas. They are not abiding in a power over structure, so they are not going to ever try to manipulate you or overtake you. Divine light workers, way showers, spiritual leaders, true empaths, they're not getting something from you because they're helping you. They're helping from the heart because it is their divine mission. Now, they may sell you something because, of course, they've got to make money on the products or whatever it is, but they're not taking from you. They're not giving you something at your expense. You don't have to lose your dignity or your respect or go broke in order to receive the light messages that they have for you. So there's no usury. There's no manipulation. They operate from a pure heart structure, and that in and of itself is healing. Operating from a pure heart structure, you don't even have to talk to anyone. You don't have to say anything. You can just be walking into the grocery store, minding your own business, and you are emanating light from the divine, a pure channel, and that is healing to you and everyone around you. Pure-hearted empaths have a higher vibration with pure intention for healing and wholeness. It's super simple. The mission is healing and wholeness. That's it. No hidden agendas. And for divine empaths, the reward always comes from spirit. It comes from being in position, aligned with the divine. The reward isn't about accolades or adulation or egoic patterns. And it doesn't mean you won't be popular. And I'm not saying you won't. I mean, look at Jesus. Jesus was popular and he was also unpopular, right? He had the crowds that loved him and he had the people that hated him. He was a threat. And so it's going to be a mixed bag. And we empaths never want to be anchored in popularity or, what people say, or what people think about us. We want to be aligned with the truth and maintain our integrity and speak the truth that spirit says. And when it's time to go into a contraction phase and go back into hermit mode and be in the cave, do it. Don't allow anybody to pull you off course, empath, and don't be anything that you're not. Be all that you are and all that you were called to be, but be nothing less and nothing more. And when you are a balanced empath, there's a beautiful integration that's constantly happening because you are in divine flow with spirit, with your soul structure, with the team that you work with. It's balanced. It's not choppy. Okay. It's not erratic. It's beautiful. It's flowy. It's light. Okay. So a healthy divine empath flows with spirit, infinity circle, cycles of love, pure heart structure, divine connection, clear dial, clear open channel. The balanced empath is a well-integrated empath. Now, they're also talking to me about empath self-awareness. Some people go their whole lives, they go through life without experiencing any personal growth. That's not the path of an empath. Our purpose for being here is to experience growth exponentially, integrate that growth, and share all that we've learned with the collective. But there are some people that live without expanding. They live without healing. They're stuck in rejection, abandonment, pain, victim mindset. And some of these people live never knowing or caring about the fact that their insensitivity to people or their reckless way of living through through the world, their reckless parenting style. There are people who go through their entire lifetime here not realizing they hurt someone, or that their carelessness or their recklessness or their lack of self-awareness or their rigidity or their judgment or their foolishness affects people around them, affects animals, it affects the environment. Reckless behavior, callous behavior, judgmental behavior, selfish behavior affects the entire collective. There are people that go through this life not only racking up all kinds of karma for themselves, but never realizing that they impact you with their recklessness. You're not going to get a sorry for them. And if you do get a sorry from them, it's going to be half-hearted, maybe insincere, or it's going to feel like they're going to throw it back on you and gaslight you for having the nerve to have any feelings about the way they've carelessly handled you. Empaths. These types of humans, low vibe, low frequency humans, they live without regard for others when they speak their mind. These types of people live carelessly. They don't have your heart as their priority. They don't have an intention to safeguard your heart. Their self-absorption creates blinders where it never occurs to them that their actions may impact others. This is so important for us to integrate instead of wondering, well, why did that leader do this? Or why did that priest or that pastor or that rabbi or that politician or that president or that this or this, that and the other, that group of people, that culture, why do they treat us like that? Why did they talk to us that way? Why did they do this? Why did they enslave us? Whatever it is that you're disgruntled about, dear ones, you have to understand those people have been living in such a low vibe for so long. Their consciousness is so decrepit, okay, and devoid of true spiritual connection, so devoid of true purity and true clarity from the divine that they have no clue. It doesn't even occur to them that they are a part of a collective and that they are responsible for what they say and do and how they move through the world. And therefore they live without character and they live without contrition. So stop wondering why they treat us that way, or why they behave that way, or why did they do that, or how could they do that, or what's wrong with those people, or what's wrong with those humans. They are not living in the same divine reality as you. They haven't done the work. And no matter what position of power they have in this realm, this earth world, they are lost. Their souls are not aligned with the divine plan that Spirit has for us. And therefore, they don't see themselves as members of a collective, healing and growing together. They see themselves as a party of one. They do not recognize and honor oneness in spirit. They're not a part of the infinity circle and cycle. They're not in the divine flow. And so if they're not in the divine flow, they're not in divine knowledge, right? They don't know. They don't know any better, or they don't care. Self-absorption limits the capacity for empathy. That's how we're different than them, empaths. Self-awareness is required to have empathy, but it's different from self-absorption. So self-awareness is very different from self-absorption. One creates a disconnect from the collective, whereas self-awareness creates oneness and more connection to the collective. True empathy feels what other people are experiencing. And you need to have self-awareness for that. It's to know what others experience when they experience you. This is so, so deep. Self-awareness does cultivate empathy. It allows us to know what others are experiencing, to feel into their experience so that we can help them. But the highest form of self-awareness is to know the experience that others experience when they experience you, to be aware of what it's like to be around you, to be aware of what it's like to hear a message from you, to be in your energy. Is your energy safe? True empathy is to be aware of that, not walking on eggshells, not people pleasing, but to be completely aligned with the divine and to be aware that your energy signature has power. It can heal people. It can realign people. It can recalibrate people. It can shift energy like that. It can up-level vibration and frequency, or it can destroy and hurt and harm. All spiritual leaders are not aligned with the highest divine plan. Some are. It's important to continue to do the work and be spiritually aware and humble, open to recalibrating to the highest light, shifting out contaminants, shifting out what no longer serves all the time, every day, on a regular basis, in order to stay aligned with the divine plan, to flow with spirit. When spiritual leaders forget that they are the light of their soul and that they're here to serve, they're going to make mistakes because the egoic structure, because there's too much buildup, too much contamination, and too much of a disconnect from the true divine plan. You'll always know. You'll always know. You'll always recognize. Without judgment, spirit allows us to see the truth. It's very clear. Keep your eyes wide open, dear ones. Remain connected. Get your command codes from base. So, even on your hardest day, dear ones, those of you that are doing the work and remaining aligned with spirit, even on your worst day, you are still an evolved, beautiful human who has already surpassed some of your own family members and predecessors. Your empathy, your ability to have empathy for the collective, created self-awareness, and that is spiritual evolution. Some of you surpassed your ancestors because you're not racist. You're not prejudiced. You don't hurt people. You don't take advantage. You're not operating from power over structure. And that is divine spiritual evolution, and your energy signature is healing. You're part of the solution, not part of the problem. Now, dear beautiful empaths, as I prepare to close out this message, some of you are having dreams at this time about your parents, your great-grandparents, or divine spiritual family that crossed over to the other side. Some of them you knew, some of them you never met in this lifetime. Your ancestors are sending love and light to you, dear ones, from the other side. You have light of protection at this time. You have light guidance at this time. And some of you may notice that you're waking up in the middle of the night and you'll think about one of your deceased loved ones. Our deceased loved ones that are in the light are truly helping the empath collective at this time. Your angels and your guardians are very near. I'm not talking about ghosts. I'm not talking about spooky things, uncomfortable, demonic things. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a sensation that your grandmother is near you, a sense that your father is close, or that your uncle, or that your great whoever is guiding you at this time, a knowing that they're near you. You may feel like you hear them or smell them or sense them. And that's because our ancestors are very much in the field at this time, along with our angels and our guardians. They're very near to us at this time. And many of us are experiencing a loving, beautiful, healing energy from our ancestors as peaceful thoughts or memories or dreams about them. That's just them drawing close to us, letting us know. It's sort of like a touch on the shoulder, a touch on the back, maybe a stroke on the face, letting us know that they're very much near. Even though this planet is difficult at this time, we are divinely supported. So take a deep breath and take that in, dear ones. Also, spiritual court has been taking place on, this is a very specific message for you, empath, whoever this resonates with. And in spiritual court, your angels, your divine team that advocates for you, that has been pleading your case for karma to be cleared, and where there has been injustice done here on the earth plane, spiritual justice has been activated in the divine realm. So spiritual court is when your divine team comes together to advocate for you and all that you're creating, and a call to action for justice takes place on your behalf in spiritual court. And so at this time, fairness and righteousness is being established for you, dear empath, as the response to a defilement or a situation that is unfair, where your light has been attacked, where your character has been assaulted, where you've been used, manipulated, and taken advantage of. Spiritual court is taking place on your behalf, and fairness and righteousness is being activated, and your ancestors and the divine beings that love you unconditionally are advocating on your behalf. Spiritual court is calling on divine justice. It's activating fair outcomes and activating divine favor on your behalf. And so for those of you that resonates, take a deep breath and basically just receive it, and just know, take comfort in knowing that there are divine higher beings that got your back and that are looking out for you. Lastly, dear ones, the empath response is to respond with light. It's a light response. When crazy is happening around us, chaotic energy, devil frequency is happening, falls from grace are happening, fake foundations are crumbling, and falsity is fading, our response is a response of light. When life gets challenging for you or around you, if you feel unsupported, if you feel disconnected from your environment or the surrounding energy, just remember that your connection is always anchored and rooted in your unique spiritual team, your angels, your ancestors, your divine guidance that works with God, Creator, Source, to keep your structure intact, to help you on all levels, physical, energetic, emotional, mental, spiritual, all parts of you, to protect the God particles, your treasure within you. You are never, ever alone. And so when life gets crazy externally, go within and remember your stance. You are never alone, and take the stance, if you can, in the face of adversity and feeling like, oh my God, I can't, the waves of intensity are too much. I can't survive this. I don't know how I'm going to get through this, or it's just, I'm having a lot of anxiety, or I'm feeling depressed. In those moments, change the energy, align with the frequency of knowing who you are. And in those moments, and I know it can be challenging, but in the moment of stress, anxiety, mayhem, dysregulation, take a deep breath and simply honor the truth of all you are. And you can say things like, I love who I am. I love being connected to the divine team that works with my structure. I love being spiritual. I love playing with energy. I love being a part of a collective with like-minded souls who get me and understand me. I love the frequency of love that flows in our collective, from me to you, from you to me, within all of us, the we within the me within the we, the I within the all within me. I love all that we are creating and cultivating as a spiritual collective, as divine empaths, as divine way showers and light workers. You see, we recalibrate it with our words and with our thoughts. Instead of focusing on the mayhem without, we go within and we create the words. We change the frequency. We set the vibrational set point with love and light. I love meditating and I love talking to other light workers. I love talking with to other spiritual empaths, people who are doing the work. I love the fact that I draw into my field and I attract to me people of light and people who are like-minded, people who I love, who I know love me, people who I can support, people who can support me. I'm so grateful and so blessed that my energetic environment, my field is love and light. And everyone that comes into my field is abiding in love and light and has done the work. I love speaking a language that makes sense to me with others that get me and get my frequency. I love how the right aligned energy breathes life back into me and recalibrates me into a higher vibration, a higher frequency, a higher knowing, and a higher remembrance of all that I am. I love how light connects us, even in dark times. I love knowing that the light is stronger than the darkness and that all is well and that we're all going to be okay. I love knowing that we in our empath collective can remain anchored in light, in spirit, in love, and that heals us. And that at any given moment, we can change the vibration and frequency with a breath and remembrance of all that we are, going within, getting our command codes from base and recalibrating from there, ascending and launching higher, moment by moment, breath by breath, ascending and launching higher, choosing to remember all that we are, staying anchored and grounded in all that we are, remembering that we are divinely supported, rooted, and grounded in spirit. All right, dear beautiful empaths, these are the messages that I had for you this week. Stay the course. Stay anchored and rooted in all that you know to be true, even though this world is wonky right now. Stay the course. Stay rooted and grounded. You are so divinely supported. You are seen. You are known. You are loved. And all is well. All will be well. And so it is.